accordance with law and practice, Justice Anoche Jima decided that he was going to hold a de novo trial, that is a new trial, in the same Opuni case after when Hoenuga went on retirement, the retirement of Hoenuga. He was instantly transferred to Kumasi, and the case was allocated to a new judge, who then proceeded to adopt the proceedings and continued the prosecution. Also, the decision by the executive branch of government to promote some judges who were sitting on some of the cases is very concerning. The perception, whether true or not, is that the promotion may be an inducement to convict the accused persons. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, fellow countrymen and women, in conclusion, I wish to make it abundantly clear that I did not take these decisions lightly. As I indicated above, I consulted widely and reviewed the files diligently before coming to a decision on each of the cases. You would note that in some cases, such as the Snake case and the banking cases, I withdrew the charges against some of the accused persons, while others are still under consideration. I am keenly aware of the need to balance the public interest, in this case, against the interests and rights of the accused persons. Also, as Attorney General, I take absolute responsibility for all the decisions so far taken. I am not under any instructions or pressure to discontinue any case or to bring charges against anyone. Those who are in a haste to tag His Excellency the President of the Republic as a clearing agent should hasten slowly, because he is not responsible for prosecutions and has not directed me to drop any case. Moreover, with the exception of one charge of bribery in the Opuni matter, in respect of which, listen, no evidence was laid, none of the persons affected by my decision so far has looted state resources. There is a gulf of difference between the offense of causing financial loss to the state or misapplication of state funds and the offenses of bribery, corruption, or that of using public office for private gain. In the latter offenses, the individual charge can be accurately labeled as looters. In the former, it will be thoroughly unfair and actually defamatory to label the accused persons who have, as people who have looted state resources. So I thank you very much. These are the reasons for my decisions, and I will now take questions if there are any. Thank you. I made clear in the statement that I read to you, I think that every Attorney General has a constitutional obligation to make clear his or her decisions when it comes to dropping charges, whether you are entering a nolle prosequi or you are actually withdrawing the charges. That is because I think that an Attorney General is not above the Constitution, and an Attorney General is subject to the requirements of Article 296. Now, for those of you who are interested, Article 296 is on the exercise of discretionary power, all right? And the power to prosecute is discretionary in nature, okay? You have to make a decision to file the charges. You have to make a decision regarding the witnesses that you want to call. You have to make a decision, regarding whether or not to drop charges, as I've just done, and so on. So it's discretionary in nature, and it's subject to the provisions of Article 296, which says that, the exercise of discretionary power cannot be arbitrary, all right? And then the exerciser of the power must be fair and candid, right? Now, I don't know how anybody can be candid without explaining themselves, okay? So for me, I think that this is a practice that has to continue. I may not in future be calling a press conference of this nature, but at least I may issue a press release, basically outlining the reasons why I have taken those have taken a decision in respect of some, a prosecution or the other. Then, your second question relating to compensation. I have not cited any formal request for compensation. As Attorney General, I'm not going to encourage it, and that if any request for compensation come, take it from me, I will fight it. Okay, take it from me, I'm going to fight it. Okay, so I'm not serving a warning to them not to bring requests for compensation, but if they do, I will fight it. Okay? Now, your third question said something about unprofessional conduct. I think I've... Yes. The former Attorney General. I think I want to reserve my views on that one. And to say that when we come to the bridge, we will cross it. So I'm reserving my comments on that one. Now, if you notice from the internal memo that I was referring to, there were two segments. One, the 300 million was in relation to Unibank. The 150 was actually in relation to UT. All right, and the memo covered both. And that is how come that I was comfortable dropping the charges, in both, because, I took the view, which was, shared by the professional prosecutors, that a charge of causing financial loss to the state will not be sustainable. The reason is simple. The charge of causing financial loss to the state is a legal concept, but it is drawn from accounting. All right. Now, if you say that financial loss has been caused, it means that through either the intentional or reckless or negligent actions of a public officer, all right, the state has incurred a loss that is irrecoverable. Now, I have always taken the view that where the so-called loss is recoverable, then it is notionally, and practically not a loss. So if the state can pursue and recover it, I'll be hesitant to take action against a person. But what has happened, look, let's go back to the history. The offense of causing financial loss to the state was first enacted under PNDC Law 78, I think.
Minister for Justice, occurring February 2025. At the press conference, I want to provide reasons for his discontinuation of certain criminal cases filed against some persons, most of whom are leading members of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, and persons who served in the NDC government that exited office in January 2017. As the public would observe, throughout my tenure as Attorney General, Minister for Justice, I never made any comment or passed judgment on the work of any of my predecessors in office, even though I was often at the receiving end of many unsavory remarks from sections of the populace, particularly personalities in the NDC. Since leaving office, I have also stayed clear of subjecting the work of my successor to any form of assessment, leaving that to discerning Ghanaians to do. Before this morning, I had made absolutely no statement or comment whatsoever about the conduct and performance of the new Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine. However, at the press conference of the Honorable Attorney General, in a rather unconventional manner, he proceeded to malign my good self, immediate past Attorney General, and peddle the host of untruths, half-truths, and misinformation. A trajectory which is not only unfortunate, but begs the question as to the true motives and justification for his decisions. The judiciary was not spared the brush of the Attorney General's unwarranted scathing attacks, as some members were subjected to similar disparaging attacks under the guise of Dr. Ayene's strained exercise of assigning reasons for decisions he has taken as Attorney General. I consider the attack on the judiciary as part of the stratagem of the NDC to blame others for their resolve long before they assumed power to clear all of John Mohammed's appointees of any criminal liability for past acts by withdrawing criminal cases pending against them. Indeed, Dr. Ayene's decisions are in furtherance of the resetting agenda of the NDC. The material facts will bear this out. Dr. Ayene was sworn in as Attorney General on Wednesday, 22nd January 2025. On Friday, 24 January 2025, he caused to be filed a notice of abandonment of the appeal by the state in Republic versus Atuforsen and 2 others. On Tuesday, 28 January 2025, we withdrew the case against Dr. Stephen Opuni and 2 others, resulting in the complete whitewash of their crimes by an acquittal and discharge through the back door. On 29 January 2025, he entered another withdrawal in Republic versus Okosuampofo and another, again resulting in an acquittal and discharge of the accused. On 30 January 2025, Dr. Ayene withdrew 2 different cases against Dr. Johnson Pandit Iselma, resulting in his acquittal and discharge in one and a discharge in the other. There were more withdrawals and no prosecutorial to be entered by the NDC government through the Attorney General in the subsequent days. Indeed, hope grew the trend of one day, one withdrawal was the occurrence of weekends. Ladies and gentlemen, this development irresistibly points to only one conclusion: a calculated, preconceived ploy on the part of the NDC to wipe out all criminal cases pending against its leading members and officials of the John Mahama government and clear them of wrongdoing, not by the courts, but through their Attorney General.
What is the difference between the ordinary thief and a political thief? Number 1, the ordinary thief steals your money, your bag, your watch, and your jewelry, isn't it? But the political thief steals your future, your career, your education, your health, and your business. Number 2, the hilarious part is that the ordinary thief will choose whom to rob. But you are the one who choose the political thief to rob you. Because we choose them. We vote them. We blindly say we are not blind. Who is deceiving who? The ridiculous part of the whole issue is that we will fight to defend and protect our belongings from the ordinary thief. Is it not? But we fight each other to defend and protect the political thief. Is that not what we do? Thugs will be fighting themselves to protect those that are stealing our career, stealing our joy, stealing our health, stealing our success. What a shame.
Government is broke, government is broke. The people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are 2 types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
All right, a very good morning to you and you're welcome to the program. It's Good Morning Ghana. Today, the 17th of February, 2025. Thank God for giving us yet another day to go through matters of the country. Let's start off with the headlines. This morning, I start with the Daily Graphic, and it says President John Dramani Mahama in a handshake with the Abiy Ahmed, Ethiopian Prime Minister. So he said Africa must be self-reliant in financing development. President Mahama. Dame criticizes court case withdrawals by AG. 159.9 million Ghana cedis teacher trainee allowance for 2023-2024 unpaid. 159.9 million Ghana cedis teacher trainee allowances for 2023-2024 unpaid. Aftermath of government directive, minority condemns job terminations, but majority leader says government stands by decision. Ghanaian Times, let's restore lasting peace to Boko Asante appeals to factions. President Mahama calls for justice equity for Africans. Work on Tamale water supply to commence, Works and Housing Minister Kenneth Gilbert Ajay here. 9 dead, 15 injured in Wale Wale Road crash. The insight. Ghana's Day of Shame. Renowned Chinese intellectual Su set to speak at 58th anniversary of Nkrumah's overthrow. The Chinese intellectual. It's going to tell us about Ghana's Day of Shame. Tema NDC executives hail appointment of new GPHA boards. Adam GH condemns illegal seizure of Nalam Taba mining concession by Upper East Police Commander, DC, chiefs, others. Commercial farmer appeals to President Mahama for subsidized agric inputs. The Informer forged last will and testament of the late Alhaji Salia Abdullahi, lawyer, dragged to legal counsel. Reform UN Security Council, Mahama urges conference. Raid at Okoforiata's house, OSP not involved. Galamsey fight, Otumfor proposes multi-faceted approach. The top right corner says appointment to Mahama government, Apia Kubi lobbies for Allen. The Inquisitor, raid of wanted Ken's home. It wasn't the OSP. Dame court pants down on Edu Ampome's perjury matter. Government pledges to complete Afari Military Hospital in September. Sami Kapo Aoku launches Ofie Markets. And the top right corner, sorry, false Ayariga for apologizing to Furiata. The Herald newspaper. Tensions escalate between Ghana's military chiefs as CDS launches board of inquiry to probe army commander. Lance Minister still paying lip service to Galamsey fight, ignores calls to remove Minerals Commission boss. Judge Shopper Godfrey Dami lies about Opuni trial. Roads Minister, Chinese Ambassador discuss smart highways future projects. Sami Jemfi refutes 173,940 Ghana cedis office furniture replacement. A Akufo-Addo government blew a car power ship bank guarantee company proposes plan for 379 million US debt. The Daily Statesman. Baumia 4IR critical for thriving Africa. GRNMA fight suspension of nurses' appointments. AG helping NDC escape justice. Godfrey Dami talks law. NDC chairman fingered in Galamsey. APD roadmap for Africa's integration unveiled at AU summit. This NDC man fingered in Galamsey will probably have to investigate, because President Mahama said if you know you are interested in Galamsey activities, then you're not welcome in his government. And we still remember those words anyway. So the Ghanaian publisher, digital economy no longer a luxury, Baumia. But Mahama's AG whitewashing former NDC officials, Dami. APD 2025 compact presented to AU delegates. Samia Oku launches Ofie Markets Initiative. Exim Bank sacks 16 staff recruited in September 2024. GMPC welcomes AG CEO Kwame Ntoh Amwa. The Custodian. Samia Oku launches Ofie Markets to boost trade. Baumia promotes digitalization for Africa growth at Harvard conference. Mahama grabs clearing agent title after freeing NDC gurus. Evaluadra NDC chairman fingered as Galamsey Kimping. APD 2025 compact presented to delegates at AU summit. AU ambassador calls on Works and Housing Minister. President Mahama removes Akufo-Addo MD of GOIL and replaces him with Edward Bauer. And then we have Energy Minister John Jinapo exposes $500K auction of fraud at ECG. Economy Times. Ghana likely to meet revised cocoa production target for 2024-2025 crop season. Ghana's economic woes are self-inflicted, says World Bank. Cautions against rushing back to capital market. Exploit minerals resources receipts to make up to tax cuts revenue loss. Economist. All right, that's it for the headlines. This morning, we're told that I have one more. One more headline. I didn't actually get my. Okay, so let me give you the daily guide. It says, nursing threatened strike, 1 dead. Daily guide. Nurses threatened strike. Military brutality in Northeast, 1 dead, several others injured. And then we also have a digital economy hold key to prosperity. Baumia. Dame heads back at Ayeni for dropping case. The new crusading guide. Dame slams government over mass withdrawal of cases. Land dispute escalates in Adjugano. As defendants defy courts, Bernard Boche is not Osumanche. Samia Oku outdoors of field market. Tema NDC Executive Hill appointment of new GPHA boss. AC Region NDC grassroots VRA staff intensify protests against engineer Edward Kenzo as acting CEO of VRA. Certificate thefts. JOSEC headmaster interdicted. Okay, Metrolens NHIA Greater Accra Hospital team up to eliminate co-payment. Your leadership is needed now more than ever. MPP USA to Baumia. Samia Oku outdoors of field market, and then we also have Business and Financial Times here. Energy Minister meets oil producing companies. GSE eyes new IPOs in 2025 as pension funds seek options for ideal cash. Ghana remains strategic investment hub despite challenges. AI growth hinges on education investment and regulation. That's it for the headlines this morning. Let's take a breather. We'll be back shortly.
Experience the enhanced protection of Star Motor Third Party Extra from Star Assurance, an enhanced motor third-party insurance policy that provides cover for loss or damage to your vehicle's windscreens, side mirrors, back glass, and other glass components. Whether it's a crack or major damage, you can drive with the assurance that your vehicle is well protected. Our commitment to you includes affordable coverage options and a claims process that is both fast and straightforward, so you spend less time dealing with paperwork and more time on the road. Also, we have proudly partnered with Hope for Little Lives, an organization dedicated to supporting children in need. By choosing Star Motor Third Party Extra, you're protecting your vehicle and making a positive impact. Every policy you buy helps bring joy and support to children in underserved communities. Reach out to us now on our toll-free numbers 0800-177-177 or 0302-245-906 to sign up. Let us help you drive with peace of mind and purpose. Star Motor Third Party Extra. Drive with confidence, give back with heart.
Star Assurance, your solid partner.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance. Your medical care is our concern.
Fire pomudi ni agubi Ghana fueni age efi say ya your local spices na ya frafra dia ya sankofa natural spice
me de go me jollof mu ni me still ahodoma emanate dance
Stanley the barbecue the go on
sankofa natural spices and one we use 100% natural said the epeno
Adofo mamunye huge mistake sankofa natural spices the
FDA ejedi nkratu yatu.
Look around. Home also need a makeover. Mine clearly does. So we went to Ashroom and found the Como collection. It had everything we're looking for and more. Merchant furniture for the entire home, designed with you in mind.
Where's Como collection? Dressing up is just the breeze. Always ready with a perfect accessory.
A magic dressing mirror. One look and you're ready to face the world. Or at least the kids.
A bed perfect for young men who want
a table that turns into a treasure chest.
And finally, a sofa with this grand TV unit for family time at home.
Head over to any Ashfoam store now and discover the new Como collection. Ashfoam, feel it, know it.
Energy drink.
One upgrade is nice, but a double upgrade is amazing. And that's how we do it. Upgrade today to get even more with Step Up. If you're on GoTV Max and upgrade to GoTV Super, you'll get way more with GoTV Super Plus.
That's so cool!
Get big value. Get big entertainment.
Very good.
Perfect! Upgrade and get even more with GoTV. GoTV. Love it.
All right, welcome back to the program. It's Good Morning Ghana. And let me just remind you that Blue Jeans energy drink is still on the market. It has been on this market for 20 good years, and we already know what it does for the body. It contains many vitamins and nutrients in it, like vitamin B2, B3, B6, B12, as well as taurine and guarana, which are known to boost your strength and energy as well. So much that it also promotes high performance and endurance. So Blue Jeans energy drink has been tested and tried. We know it and we testify that it's indeed the best on the market. So go for Blue Jeans energy drink. It's for the bold and active men. It's in shops nationwide. For bulk purchase, you want to contact Cash and Carry Limited on 020-812-8190 or 055-001-0000. Blue Jeans energy drink for the bold and active men. Okay, so I'll introduce the guests to you this morning. I have already one with me in the studio, so we'll just start talking immediately. Beatrice Annan is presidential staffer. She's joined me here in the studio, and she's also a lawyer. Beatrice, you're welcome. Good morning to you.
Thank you, Annie. Good morning. I'm happy to be here.
We're happy to have you.
No miss you.
No miss you from whose side? My side or your side?
Yes, from your side.
Oh.
I know everything you want to say, but please don't say it. Let's be nice. Let's have a good show. People are watching. I'm very sure. Okay.
Advice well taken. Beatrice Annan is the presidential staffer, and we're expecting Tabitha appearing in Ayila. I'm sure she will be with us in the studio pretty shortly. And I know she's already in the house, so she will join us soon. All right, so let's start. Let's start first with corruption cases, issues that have been raised by a lot of you in the public concerning actions and decisions that have been taken by the Attorney General in dropping or discontinuing some cases by entering nolle prosequi. So, okay, first let's do this. Let's put on the screen the cases that have been dropped by the Attorney General, and then I'll give you a brief of what the Attorney General also said. We have the videos. I think we played some of the videos for you to get an understanding. But let's see the cases that have been dropped by the Attorney General. Okay, great. So we have cases dropped by the Attorney General Dominic Ayeni, Colin Zauda's case as former Minister for Works and Housing. The charges are there. Let me not waste so much time in reading the charges, but let's move on to the next one. Do we have another one? We have a number 2. We have Johnson Asiama, former second deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana. The charges, facing charges alongside with Kwabena Dufour over alleged dishonest spending of funds belonging to customers and investors, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's move on to number 3. Dr. Ernest Thompson, former Director General of SNIT. The charges include financial impropriety and causing financial loss to the state in relation to some $66 million SNIT operational business suits project, or business suites project, yes. And then we also have some initially valued at $34 million. The contract allegedly escalated to $66 million, and that's the charge he's facing in court. The next one, number 4. Kasela Toforsen, former Deputy Finance Minister at that time and businessman Richard Jakpa. The charges are causing financial loss to the state to the tune of 2.37 million euros to the state over the procurement of some 30 defective ambulances for the Ghana National Ambulance Service. It goes on and on and on. Let's move on to this number 5. Samuel Ofoswampo, former NDC chairman and communications officer turned Anthony Kweku Boahen. The charges allegedly conspiring to incite violence against political opponents and key public features based on the leaked audio recording. The next one, number 6. Dr. Stephen Kwabena Opuni. This is, I think, one of the long-lasting cases that you probably must have heard or would have heard, because it lasted almost forever within the previous administration. The former CEO of Cocoa Board and businessman Seidu Agongo. The charge is 27 counts, including defrauding the state by false pretenses, willfully causing financial loss to the state, violating public procurement laws. Agongo, CEO of Agriculture Ghana Limited, was accused of fraudulently selling substandard fertilizer to Cocoa Board with Dr. Puni alleged facilitation. Okay, so let's move on to the next one, number 7. Oh, no, I just, number 7 is fine. Okay, okay. Oh, I didn't get number 7. It's number 8. This one should be number 7, rather. But let me just read on. Democracy Hub anti-Galamsey protester charge. arrested during anti-illegal mining Galamsey protests demanding stronger government action on environmental degradation. 53 protesters, including Oliver Bakabomowo and Ama Governor, were detained. The Attorney General also, the Attorney General has also discontinued the case, effectively ending the legal proceedings against the protesters. Okay, do we have any more? No. Okay, so you gave me number 7 before the 8, but Oliver Bakabomowo, Fix the Country activist charged with conspiracy to commit unlawful acts, unlawful assembly, and causing unlawful damage. That's also another case against Oliver, one of the cases that have been dropped. All right, let's move on to the reasons. If I have the reasons, I'll be grateful to the producers. The reasons why these cases were dropped. Okay, do we have that? If we don't have that, I'll just read on because, okay. Okay, nice, thank you. So the reasons to discontinue the cases. So just in case you actually didn't follow the Attorney General last week and you didn't pay attention to his press conference, we've just made a summary of it just for you to have a reason for all the hullabaloo that's making rounds to have caused also the former Attorney General to come and respond. Now, these are some of the reasons that the Attorney General also puts to the decisions he took. Reasons to discontinue cases. We have on ethical and professional considerations. On ethical and professional considerations. Dr. Anid explained that that he could not, in good conscience, continue prosecuting cases in which he had previously been involved as a defense lawyer. Specifically, he cited cases of the Republic versus Kasilata Force and another Republic versus Ufusampo for another, where he had previously represented the accused. Okay, let's move on to the next reason. Okay, the next reason also is about defective charges. Defective charges. The Attorney General highlighted that some charges were fundamentally flawed and lacked the precision required under criminal law. For instance, the case of Republic versus Collins Dauda and others, the prosecution failed to account for the value of the Seglemi housing project, which was constructed using parts of the funds in question. Okay, let's move on to the third reason. Third reason. The third one says insufficient evidence. Insufficient evidence. Dr. Ayeni noted that in several cases the evidence presented to the prosecution was insufficient to secure a conviction. He cited the case of Republic versus Stephen Opuni and another, where the prosecution failed to call any farmers to testify about the efficacy of the lithovit fertilizer, despite claims that it was effective. Instead, evidence from Cocoa Board officials and farmers indicated that the fertilizer was effective and preferred by the farmers. Just in case you follow that case, you see that all the farmers that came to testify, these were their testimony. But there is, some extra issues. The first three you saw were like the main reasons. But there's also issues of transparency and accountability, where in departure from the traditional practice, Dr. Ayeni emphasized the importance of transparency in prosecutorial decisions, right? He referred a Supreme Court ruling in George Afuku versus Attorney General, which highlighted the need for the prosecutorial authorities to be open about factors influencing their decisions. Dr. Ayeni stated that his decision to explain his actions was not only to avoid accusations of partiality, but also to comply with the constitutional requirements under Article 296 of the Constitution, which mandates the fairness and reasonableness of the exercise discretionary powers. Okay. So this was just a brief or a summary of what the current Attorney General, Dominic Ayeni, took us through as a country. And then came the former Attorney General, Godfrey Dame, who also decided to respond to some of the issues. In fact, he described the whole Attorney General's presser as a sham. And that's, in summary, what I can say. He described it as a sham. But let me, capture from the Daily Graphic. Dame criticizes courts case withdrawals by the AG. And in page 13 of the Daily Graphic, it says that former Attorney General, Minister for Justice Godfrey Dame has criticized the decision of the successor, Dr. Ayeni, to withdraw cases against former political appointees who served in the National Democratic Congress NDC. Addressing news conference in Accra last Friday, Mr. Dame questioned why Dr. Ayeni withdrew the cases if, indeed, he believed that the accused persons were not guilty, saying that the AG should have allowed the case to continue. Once a court has ruled that an accused person should open his defense, there's no basis for the Attorney General to scrutinize evidence and speak to the counsel for defense and say that the accused person had no case to answer, he said. In brief, I'll just put it that way and then bring in my guests. But on that note, let me welcome Tabitha. Sometimes I want to call your name Apia Yene. Apia Yene has joined us in the studio. You're welcome. Happy New Year. I haven't seen you this year, right?
Sure.
Right after elections, I haven't really seen you.
No.
Right. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You look good.
Same.
I like the whole, inspiration, the locks inspiration.
Thank you.
Anyway,
you're looking
good
too.
Thank you. Thank you.
How is everything with you?
Oh, well, I think we started on a hot note.
Yeah,
by the government. So we are watching.
We are watching.
Okay. We are watching. Anyway, Tabitha, you're welcome. All right, let me come back to Beatrice. Beatrice, just a summary of all that has happened.
Annie, thank you very much. I think that I was very scandalized to hear that Godfrey Dame actually had the temerity to come out to talk about the issue of the nolle prosequi as we've been discussing over the past week. And why do I say this? I think if there is any Attorney General who never carried himself with the grace and honor that an Attorney General should carry himself with, it is Godfrey Dame. He will go down in the history of this country as an Attorney General who brought no honor to the office. In fact, he was a total embarrassment to all lawyers. And I was shocked that Godfrey Dame could actually have the temerity to speak. Well, I don't even know how to describe this, but it shows you the levels of impunity and the levels of low standards we've had to deal with in the last 8 years. That even when the people of Ghana have booted them out of power, they would not even have time for sober reflections and ask themselves what could probably be so wrong as to subject an entire MPP to this kind of embarrassment in the last election. And I think that the MPP are not learning, but in their not learning, perhaps it will be good for us in the NDC. And why do I say that? Any student of law, or you need not even be a student of law to know that an Attorney General ought not to give any reason howsoever described when the Attorney General chooses to exercise the discretion to enter what we call a nolle prosequi, which simply means that no case to prosecute. That's just the big Latin word, nolle prosequi. Godfrey Dame, as an Attorney General, entered nolle prosequi. In fact, because the law says that he had no reason to give, or he was not mandated to give any reasons, and he did not give any reasons. Many people called and said that in tandem with advancement of constitutional democracy, we think that we ought to know the reasons behind why an Attorney General then ought to enter a nolle prosequi. And they'll quickly tell you that the law does not say that they have to give a reason, or in their usual phrase, go to court if you disagree. Today, and let me take this opportunity to salute my learned senior, Dominic Ayeni, who has contributed and has enriched our jurisprudence as long as constitutional law is concerned. I can imagine the excitement on the faces of constitutional law lecturers when they are teaching their students and they are having to use what Mr. or Dr. Ayini has done. What did Dr. Ayini do? Dr. Ayini said that although as an Attorney General, the law says that I can enter a nolle prosequi without giving anybody any explanation, I believe that in tandem with Article 296, in my exercise of the discretion to enter a nolle prosequi or to continue a prosecution of any case, I ought to give a reason which is fair, which is candid, and in a manner that shows that the NDC government is accountable to the people of Ghana. And so if you ask me, this is an expansion of what we have been advocating for in constitutional law. And I'm happy that we are having to discuss these things and not having to discuss an Attorney General that says that I owe nobody an obligation. I do what the law says and I have done it and nobody can fault me. If you have an issue, go to court. And so this morning, I want to salute Dr. Dominic Ayini. And with this precedent set, it will be very difficult for any Attorney General who is progressive to say that in subsequent nolle prosequi, I will not give a reason. So let's give honor and let's praise where we have to praise. And that, I salute Dr. Ayini on that. Now, Dr. Ayini, having given a reason for entering the nolle prosequi.
For the purpose of education, I wanted the viewers to know what the article entails, Article 296.
Okay.
You want to read or you want me to?
Oh, you can read.
Okay, so Article 296 says that exercise of discretionary powers. Where this constitution or in any of the law discretionary power is vested in any person or authority, clause A, that discretionary power shall be deemed to imply a duty to be fair and candid. B, the exercise of the discretionary power shall not be arbitrary, capricious, or biased, whether by resentment, prejudice, or personal dislike, or prejudice, or personal dislike, and shall be in accordance with due process of the law. And C, where the person or authority is not a judge or other judicial officer, there shall be published by constitutional instruments or statutory instruments regulations that are not inconsistent with the provisions of this constitution or that other law to be govern the exercise of the discretionary power.
Okay, so basically what it's saying is that when you are given a discretionary power, it is to do or to abstain from doing an act. And so to do or to abstain from doing an act, you ought to be guided by certain principles. You cannot say that you are a God unto yourself because I can say yes or no, so I just have to do it. And I'm saying that although Act 30 says that an Attorney General need not give reason for entering a nolle prosequi, what Dr. Ayini did, and that is actually what should be the position of the law, and that was the dissenting opinion in the Gregory Afoko case at the Supreme Court by Justice Kwamwan, that you ought to tell the public, it's a matter of public interest, so you can't just sit in the comfort of your room and say that I don't want to do it. But be that as it may, I want us, for the purposes of this morning, to journey and see why Godfrey Dami is a very dishonest person and should not have been an Attorney General in the Fourth Republic and has taken our jurisprudence way back, and they have practically messed up not only the judicial system but even the business climate because of a lot of the unethical practices. The courts became like a safe haven where it did not matter the merit of the case. He was so comfortable, whether by calling judges on phone, by visiting judges in their offices, or doing things which we as legal practitioners were actually very new and very novel, if you ask us. But we are being told that it is good, and I'll come there. First of all the cases which Dr. Ayini has entered the nolle prosequi in respect of are cases which were politically motivated. I can understand when people want to say that, oh, it is just you wanting to clear NDC people. But I want to take my time this morning and explain that it's got nothing with anybody wanting to clear NDC people, and this is why. In the case of the Republic versus Ernest Thompson, Godfrey Dami charged Mr. Ernest Thompson with over 20 counts, which are 20 different offenses, while he was in power. In the submission of no case, the court itself struck out over 17 of those charges as being frivolous, without basis, and did not show anything. There was no evidence supporting those charges. And so any attorney general worth his salt would not have 17 charges being struck off out of 20 charges. In the first place, that should tell you that there was something fundamentally wrong, that this gentleman wanted to just charge people. And he just has the penchant of coming after people who express contrary view. I'm sure if I were a public officer, by reason of calling Godfrey Dami out, I would be subjected to some charges. That is how he abused the use of his prosecutorial powers as an attorney general. And so Dr. Ayini tells you that having done these things, there is no merit in that case. You yourself, 17 charges were struck out. In 8 years, you could not get your court, which you had access to call judges or meet them or go to their offices, something you said was normal and the court would oblige you if you do. You could not get conviction. You expect Dr. Ayini to come and do what with those? Now, in respect of Collins Dauda, and this is why many people should be sad that the one's office an attorney general, which was so revered, which the likes of Joe Randolph held, and I mean, their own Joe Randolph, and today has been reduced to naught. In the case of Collins Dauda, this is what Godfrey Dami did. He charged him with misapplying public funds to the tune of $200 million. Annie, if Godfrey Dami even chose to do an armchair investigation where you sit in the office and you call people to even bring you documents, that charge ought not to have been preferred against Collins Dauda. Why? Because even the bank records will show that Ghana did not receive any $200 million. That the amounts which came to Ghana, exclusive of bank charges and other charges anytime you contract a facility, was 198 million. And so ab initio, from the beginning, you are charging a person for misapplying funds or willfully causing financial loss to a figure that did not even exist in the first place, that the government of Ghana did not receive. It shows you that these prosecutions were actually accentuated by malice. Somebody just wanted NDC people behind bars because they were in power. Again, before you can say that a person has actually misapplied funds, I mean, you need to look at what the funds were, what they were used for, and come to a determination that this total sum has been misapplied. You know what they did? Saglemi was supposed to be 5,000 units. There is evidence that Saglemi had over 1,500 units. So even out of that 200 million, which never came, which was 198 as I have established, 1,500 units were built. So even if you wanted to charge him, why would you not do the balancing and see that, okay, by the valuation, the existing Saglemi cost this. The balance is what we are charging you for. Again, in one of the charges, he actually said that the basis of charging Mr. Collins Dauda was because he had issued interim payment certificates, where in this country are ministers responsible for issuing interim certificates. In cross-examination, when Godfrey Dami's own witnesses were asked, in all the interim payment certificates you presented, Can you show us where Mr. Dowda's signature was? There was not any. So why should any serious Attorney General, in the person of Dr. Ayini, continue with such a frivolous allegation and prosecution because it satisfies the ego of Godfrey Dami? He should get over himself. Then we had the Ato Forcing. As for Ato Forcing, I don't even know what the finance minister has done for Godfrey Dami. I think the mere mention of Ato Forcing's name, he just goes beside. Because in the Ato Forcing case, a court of appeal has actually acquitted and discharged Ato Forcing and Mr. Jakba. So as we speak, there is even nothing on record to say that they were convicted. All they needed to do was to discontinue the appeal, that I am no longer interested in this appeal. But for Dami said, I think that if you look at all these things, you know what they wanted to do? They just wanted to prove to people that, oh, we can silence people. It was in tandem with the culture of silence. When you hear that Ahmed Swale has been killed, when you hear that Kaka, who was leading a charge for change, and many others have been killed, if they cannot kill you because you are not an ordinary citizen and you are a leading member of the NDC, they either will arrest you like they did in many cases, or they will just prosecute you. Now, I have seen that.
So just an update of this was reported by City FM Online on the July 30, 2024. Ambulance case, Court of Appeal acquits and discharges Ato Forcing. Now, the Court of Appeal has acquitted and discharged the minority leader, Kessel Ato Forcing, on the ongoing ambulance trial. The Court of Appeal sets aside the order for Ato Forcing to open his defense by the trial court in the ongoing ambulance case. The Director Legal for the National Democratic Congress NDC, Tamaklu, in an interview on Breakfast Show following the court's decision, explained that the appeal was filed after the trial dismissed the submission of no case, ruling that a case had been made against the accused persons. Quote, what happens is that after the prosecution called their witness, lawyers for the accused persons did what they call a submission of no case, and the court dismissed the submission of no case and ruled that the case has been made against accused person, warranting them to open their defense.
This is in what case?
City.
In which case are you talking about?
In the Ato Forcing case.
No, that was at the trial court.
At the trial stage?
Yes, at the trial stage. So it is against this decision that they went to the Court of Appeal to say that the trial judge erred when she held that there is a case to answer. And then the Court of Appeal said, yes, you are right, because there is no case for you to answer. And so acquitted and discharged him of all the charges. Okay. So in his case, it's not even as if the Attorney General entered a nolle prosequi. He just said that I don't want to continue the appeal. Now, let me expose the hypocrisy of Godfrey Dami and why I keep saying that. He did not appreciate the obligations imposed on him at law, and also by reason of holding such a high office, and the discretion he ought to exercise for and on behalf of the people. I think that he could not make a distinction between being an MPP member and being an Attorney General or any ordinary minister. Because you see, by our training as lawyers, I can defend you, Annie, even when I don't like you. Because you are my client. And so we are not to internalize our client's case. What Godfrey Dami did was to internalize and personalize cases against people. I have no other reason not to come to the conclusion that he did not like.
How did you also come to the conclusion
so let
that
me tell you,
internalized cases?
Let me show you. In the case of the BOG governor now, Governor Isiama. Governor Isiama was a deputy governor at the Bank of Ghana. He did not have an oversight responsibility. And Annie, there are a number of cases in international law and in many common law jurisdictions that say that where a decision is made by the management of a central bank, it cannot be the decision of one person. It ought to be a collective decision, unless it comes under some special circumstances where you can impute that this person intended to do this in a manner that is criminal. And so if you wanted to prosecute the actions of people at the central bank in the first place, you ought not to single out Dr. Isiama.
Yeah.
And so it shows you that he had a certain vendetta against Isiama.
The person.
Yes, and I'll demonstrate to you. First of all, what was Godfrey Dame's crime or charges against Dr. Isiama or Governor Isiama, as I like to call him? Godfrey Dame says that the Bank of Ghana advanced a facility, which is a loan, to UMB to the tune of 300 million cedis. And I want viewers to journey with me well, so that when we expose the duplicity of Godfrey Dame, it will not be because it's an NDC MPP politics as usual. That it will be that these people sank this country so low that, you know, ordinarily certain things should be so ordinary, but now we are having to celebrate them because of how low we sank. Now, the Bank of Ghana advanced a loan of 300 million cedis to the UMB. Out of this 300 million, UMB was already paying the loan. So at the time Godfrey Dame brought the charges against Governor Isiama, UMB had already paid 150 million out of the loan, and they were still paying the loan. And UMB also had another facility of 150, or they had monies of 150 million with CBG. And so even if CBG should pay UMB that money, they could quickly pay Bank of Ghana and there would have been no issue. But why? Godfrey Dame says that if you were a deputy governor and loan facilities went through the normal banking procedures, where it went through banking supervision and all the internal procedures that happens at the Bank of Ghana, if he doesn't like you, he will come after you. Then when he wanted to prefer the charges, Annie, the DPP, and I have a copy of the memo here, the DPP wrote to Godfrey Dame and said that we have reviewed the charges that you want to prefer against the man. In fact, we have not only reviewed the charges, we have also spoken to our own witness, which they call PW2. So I want to read to you what the memo said. A study of the fact of the case indicates that the initial facility of 300 million has been recovered, leaving 150 million outstanding. The office has confirmed from the Bank of Ghana through Mr. Alexander Ta, PWT, which is the prosecution's own witness, that the interest from the outstanding amount is presently being serviced by UMB Bank. Mr. Ta also indicated that UMB has an amount of 150 million locked up with CBG. It is expected that when the sum is released to UMB, the loan amount for which Johnson Isiama was being charged with causing financial loss will be repaid to the Bank of Ghana. This therefore may render the charges preferred against him moot, leading to his discharge. How do we go ahead with, how do we go ahead with prosecuting such a matter? So
can it be likened to the company that we procured the ambulances from, who said that they were also going to pay?
Yes, I think it stems from Godfrey Dame's general misapprehension of loans, facilities, LCs, and all that. Maybe he should take a short course in that to help him. And you know, they wrote this memo. Annie, what is even instructive is that as we speak today, UMB has finished paying that loan.
Oh.
Yes, UMB has finished paying that loan. And that is why the DPP told Godfrey Dame that if you should proceed with these charges, it is possible that at the time the trial was ongoing, it will become moot, because then there will be no loan, for which reason you will say that contrary to the Bank of Ghana regulation, he may have reached a certain rule. But you know where it gets even better? Governor Addison, their own Governor Addison, who says that people deserve water also, advanced a similar facility to the same UMB.
Same procedure.
Same procedure, same condition. You know why? UMB is termed as a bank which is called systematically important bank because of the number of institutions they are holding. So all over the world, when you are dealing with systematically important bank, you don't treat them like any ordinary bank. Okay. And so there was no mention anywhere that showed that Dr. Esiama had anything untoward to do, or that he benefited for the advancement of the loan, or that the loan facility which was advanced was not paid. So why do you want to prosecute him? Why? Because he had the potential to be a governor, and today he's a governor.
The Attorney General said something during his press conference, which I disagree with.
I will come to what he even said during his press conference to expose his duplicity again.
Okay, so the point I want to make is about causing financial loss to the state and maybe procurement processes. He sought to say, and I'm not quoting, I'm paraphrasing, he sought to say that if someone even causes financial loss to the state and you are using the law to retrieve, and these monies are retrievable, there's no need, advancing your case. But I thought that on the basis of timeliness, if some amount of money was needed at a certain point in time, and because of your inappropriate misbehavior or behavior, it causes the nation some inconvenience at some point, you should be held accountable for
Yes, you should be held accountable. But before you can be held accountable, we ought to establish that indeed your action caused that financial. Okay. Then we can proceed to the second stage of whether we will convict you or we will enter into a plea bargain with you and retrieve the money. Okay. So before we come to that determination, and this is what Godfrey Dami, when he gave a very long 12-page press conference on all the cases, when it got to Dr. Esiama's case, he only had one paragraph. The narration given by the Attorney General about why he discontinued the two different cases against Mr. Johnson Esiama disclosed a litany of untruth, half-truth, and a skillful manipulation of the facts. Be that as it may, as it is with manipulation of fact, the truth is always laid bare on being subjected to careful analysis. What the truth are, we don't know. What the counter and how truth are, he did not proceed to tell us. So it shows you the duplicity of Godfrey Dami. Governor Esiama did nothing wrong. And you know what happened? The only reason why Godfrey Dami chose to prosecute Governor Esiama is that Dr. Bawumia has held whether a lecture or a public forum or however described, and he lied, consistent with his manner of lying about the mobile money interoperability. And then Dr. Esiama came to respond to him and said that, Mr. Vice President, you peddled untruth. Immediately after Dr. Esiama replied Dr. Bawumia, Godfrey Dami said that, just like Ato Forson in the E-Levy case, I have to find a way to silence you. And so even against sound advice...
That's all based on suspicions.
Which suspicion?
That's your analysis.
But what is the basis? So now what is the basis?
Fact, because you're trying to establish that...
I'm saying that...
he internalized his issue.
Yes, I'm saying that the prosecution came right after that press conference by Dr. Esiama to set the record straight. And why do I say that? Do you know that Godfrey Dami even destroyed this memo?
Yes, I was going to ask you if because he
destroyed the memo that says that do not prosecute. You know, if you're a prosecutor,
did he destroy the memo?
He did. He shredded. It was. I'm sure his shredder was bigger. He destroyed the memo, but he forgot that the memo was sent via email, and so there are traces to them. That is how Godfrey Dami behaves. You see, when you are a prosecutor, everybody is taught in law school, because when you are coming out of law school, you don't know whether you want to be a defense attorney or you want to be a prosecutor. So we are trained in the way that whether you're a prosecutor or a defense attorney, there are principles that must guide you. The first one is that it is not the prosecutor's duty to establish the guilt of an accused person at every time. That the prosecutor is interested and should be interested in doing justice. And so even where the prosecutor has evidence which we say are exculpatory enough, you ought to present them to the court. But even before going to court, your own DPP, who you send every day to court, as for her, I pity her. Because every day you are sent to court to go and prosecute a man, which you yourself have said that the charges against the man will become mute, and there was nothing criminally minded there. It tells you that Godfrey Dame was on a certain mission where he abused his prosecutorial powers. He was so, you see, Godfrey Dame wanted conviction so much that he doesn't mind calling a Supreme Court judge. He doesn't mind going to meet a Supreme Court judge in an office. In the Opuni trial, in one of the cases, the lawyers for Opuni deposed to the fact that Godfrey Dame went to meet Justice Doche, who was a judge on the matter, before a judgment could be given, only for him to say that, oh, the reason was that there was some celebration. I wanted to ask him, how did
there was some what?
He did some very flimsy.
Why he went to see the
Justice Doche?
Well, the case was in session.
Yes, you call Justice Kulendi, and you know, anytime his professional conduct comes up, and he's being called out for who he is quick to hide under the courts. That, oh, the court said, and the court has held, and the court found, and the court found, whatever the court found. We also have consciences. Just like in the audio, he could not understand Elsie, and he was asking Jakpa, and Jakpa was explaining. Just like in the audio, he was compelling Jakpa to forge a medical report, which he has not denied. Just like in the audio, he admitted to calling a Supreme Court justice. We know who he is. And no attorney general who has justice as the core. You know the thing about justice? Justice must not only be done, it must be seen to be done. And it must be so even if the heavens falls. So that we say that it is better for 1,000 guilty people to be walking the streets than for one innocent person to be behind bars. And so when you have an attorney general who is so obsessed when he's doing a case, and the judge gets a ruling against him, by the next time the judge will have to be transferred, as we witnessed in the Opuni case. If he's doing a case, look at his utterances in the Jachi Kweson's case. He can sit in the comfort of his office, grant interview, and determine the guilt or otherwise of a person as a prosecutor. I think that Godfrey Dame has a lot of questions to answer, and if I were him, I would reserve my energy for answering questions and not be, beating around the bush. If the NPP lost by an abysmal over 1.6 million, perhaps he contributed to about 400,000.
But he asks a very, important question. He says, if you believe that the accused, all those whose cases have been dropped, have a good case, based on ethical and professional considerations, as Ayeni gives, defective charges as he gives, insufficient evidence. Are the judges not, potent enough to determine all these and rule on the case finally? Since he is even a new attorney general that has taken over, you should be able to run this case easily and clear them from the court instead of entering.
He's asking someone to do what he could not do in 8 years.
Yeah, that's what makes the difference.
It doesn't make a difference. It's actually, first of all, before you even go to a judge as a prosecutor, and for that matter as an attorney general, you ought to be convinced that I have a case, so that when you're standing before the judge or when you're presenting a case, you are not stupid. You can imagine saying that somebody has caused financial loss to the state, and your basis is that the person signed letters of credit. And then your witness comes to the box and you are asked, is the minister's signature in any of the letters of credit or interim payment certificates that you have presented? And then your own witness, your own prosecution witness says no. How stupid would you be? Godfrey Dame did not have that kind of shame we had at the bar. Lawyers, sometimes we have a certain level of shame. When we are doing a case, we see that it's going this way. Sometimes you take an application, it is dismissed. You come back and you call the other counsel, I want to settle. What he wanted was conviction. It doesn't matter. Is that not the man who was telling Jakpa that? Because I want this conviction, don't come to court on this date. Go and say you are sick. Take a fake medical report so that we can adjourn.
In his presser, he said Jakpa himself said he was sick. If you had
Well, we didn't listen
he said
to
Jakpa
it.
himself said he was sick, so it wasn't that he was seeking for Jakpa to come and lie.
It is even more shameful that in his presser he admitted that he spoke to Jakpa. That is even more shameful than even what Jakpa said or did not say. As a lawyer speaking to another person who is represented, and he makes one other point. He says that, oh, you know what? Dr. Ayini just wants to do this because that is what NDC people have been saying, and that if he was so conflicted because as defense counsel he believed in the innocence of these people, he should have delegated his powers to either another prosecutor. As for Godfrey Dam, the least said about him, the better. The Attorney General is the one who enters the nolle prosequi. First of all, he must come to the decision that this case deserves or does not deserve, and then say that I'm entering the nolle prosequi before he can delegate. So if the person says that I don't believe in it, why would you delegate disbelief? It is the absurdities that we've been hearing. They are so comfortable with going to court and securing judgments in 2 hours. They are so comfortable with calling judges. They are so comfortable with, practically compelling clients and witnesses to be doing things because they want to secure conviction or because they think that having access to power is power without limitation. And so they cannot even tell. They've blurred the line. Today, Godfrey Dame had the guts to come and talk about nolle prosequi when an Attorney General has advanced our democracy and has given reason. Maybe some other lawyer in NPP, we would listen to the person. But in MDC, we are careful where we take our moral lessons from. And Godfrey Dame should not be one of those people teaching us moral lessons. Having said that, let me conclude by assuring the people of Ghana that there is a new system of governance that the NDC is putting in place. That governance which is in tandem with what we call constitutionalism. That even where the law says that you can do this and you are at liberty to do this, we still understand that we owe it an obligation to the people of Ghana to explain to them why we are doing some of these things. And whereas the NDC may not get it all right because we are not perfect, we will journey this governance with the people of Ghana. We will listen to them. Discretion which ought to be exercised will not be exercised in a manner that is capricious and that is frivolous and whimsical and that is, built on the egos of a leader. And President Mahama, you have a man who is committed to making sure that together we build our country and we set very important tenets of our democracy. And President Mahama, you will not have his Attorney General placing phone calls to judges. You will not have his Attorney Generals rushing to court and getting judgment in 2 hours. Everybody will be equal before the law. And even if it means that sometimes it may affect government, that is what it means. And so I want Ghanaians to keep faith. I want Ghanaians to know that this is a new NDC that will be committed to doing the right things. We will be listening to people. What we saw, the democracy have abuses of human rights and all that, you will not see that in this government. And if you want to take a lecture, it certainly should not be from Godfrey Dame.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Tabitha, let me quickly do this, right? Let me take a break. When I come back, then you'll have a bite so that I don't interrupt you. We're still watching Good Morning Ghana. We're dealing with the issue of Godfrey Dame, not Godfrey Dame, but cases that have been dropped by the Attorney General. And, eventually he comes to explain to the people of Ghana, while Godfrey Dame also comes to respond and describes the Attorney General's decision and explanations as a sham. We'll be back shortly.
Who are you? Who are you? Charlie, I'll be you from the future. Who doesn't sleep on that slice of bread you call mattress anymore? Don some slippers, then follow me. It is quite a mattress we did the front there. Yeah? Happiness mattress where the dead for me. Wait, what are you doing? Wow! No damage at all. Not only durable, but also super comfortable. Come on, try it.
Nothing day like ash foam. Enjoy full body support and unparalleled comfort for a restful sleep.
Don't forget your keys.
Get the premium sleep experience with mattresses from Ash Foam. Visit any of our showrooms nationwide or at ashfoam.com.
In an era where fire safety is paramount, Kabori Film Compound Technologies Limited stands out as a leader in the development of innovative fire dousing solutions. With a focus on aqueous film forming foam, the company provides a cutting-edge product that significantly enhances fire suppression capabilities across various sectors, including maritime, industrial, and emergency response.
The oil and gas sector, along with chemical manufacturing facilities and fire services.
Kabori's advanced film technology offers a more efficient and environmentally responsible alternative.
Kabori is recognized for its superior extinguishing capabilities and prolonged resistance to reignition. Kabori's product is certified by the Ghana National Fire Service, the Ghana Standards Authority, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the Nigerian Standards Organization.
Kabori Film Compound Limited is situated in Nsawam within the eastern region of Ghana. For inquiries, reach out to them on 0245 885 288 or 0244 514 048. You may also contact them via email at info@kaborifilm.com. Kabori Film Compound Technologies Limited, providing film compound solutions to help institutions.
Customer, I don't know who to say.
Malaria been actually me, man. No more drown, man. Still.
One of them give us.
Give us a solid.
Yeah. Sorry. But Russell, so give us here and don't come down.
What's a good answer? But for me to give us the and some down.
Give us a bad message.
The patron and some down.
Customer. Give us that now.
Onuya kayo oba wa fafuro nom de o ma no banu fo nom akwada wa ni fie dumie no ono so nom.
You the answer to my prayer. You with me everywhere. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need tonight. Give me shelter from the rain. You breathe life in me again. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need to know tonight.
To examine Dr. Ayini's reasons for withdrawing some of the criminal cases Dr. Ayini mentioned in his press statement. And I find generally that all his explanations are laden with contradictions and inconsistencies and betraying the questionable motives for his actions. First is the Republic versus Atufosin and another case. The first reason assigned by the Attorney General for the discontinuance of the appeal is ethical and professional, since, according to him, he was deeply involved in the conduct of his defense as a defense of Dr. Atufosin. He could not, according to him, in all good conscience, continue the conduct of the appeal. This explanation is a sham, as the Attorney General's prosecutorial authority under Article 88 Clause 4 of the Constitution is exercised by himself or, and I quote, any other person authorized by him in accordance with any law. Pursuant to this, the Criminal and Other Offences Procedure Act 1960 Act 30 permits attorneys of the Office of Attorney General and other persons, including even private legal practitioners, to whom the Attorney General may delegate his powers through an executive instrument enacted pursuant to Act 30 to prosecute. Thus, the fact that he, Dr. Ayini, found himself in a conflict of interest situation did not imply that the entire appeal had to be abandoned. Dr. Ayini characterizes the prosecution of the ambulance case as a political witch hunt. I wholly disagree. The facts show that vehicles purporting to be ambulances were imported into the country in December 2014 in violation of the contract governing the transaction. In the absence of any request by the Ministry of Health, and at a time that the period for supply of the ambulances and the contract had even lapsed, Dr. Atufosin, by letters dated 7th and 14th August 2014, instructed the Bank of Ghana and the Controller Accountant General to issue letters of credit, which was the agreed means of payment for the vehicles under the agreement. The letters of credit were consequently established on 18th August 2014. Big C General Trading Limited, the suppliers of the vehicles based in Dubai, whose contract had no parliamentary approval, proceeded to ship the vehicles on receipt of the letters of credit. When the vehicles arrived, they were not of the kind specified in the contract and had serious defects with every material part of the vehicles, which rendered them unfit to be described as ambulances. Indeed, a John Mahama appointed Minister for Health at the time, Dr. Alan Simifia, described the vehicles as ordinary vans, not fit for purpose. The defects were so irremediable that from the time the vehicles started arriving in December 2014 to January 2017, when the SR John Mahama administration left office, they could not be converted into ambulances. To date, they cannot be converted into ambulances, and the Mahama government is back in power. I am of the honest view that the split 2-1 decision of the Court of Appeal, far from confirming Dr. Ayini's position that the case was flawed, was erroneous, and the Republic's chances of having same set aside by the Supreme Court was very high. If Dr. Ayini was convinced that his position would prevail on appeal, why did he not allow the appeal to run its course for vindication of his views? What did he or his former client, Dr. Atufosin, stand to lose by the determination of the appeal by the Supreme Court? Ladies and gentlemen, I observe that the real reason for discontinuance of the appeal by Dr. Ayini was that he did not wish to deepen the woes of Dr. Atufosin any further.
All right, you're welcome to the program. It's Good Morning Ghana. I'm still in the studio with Beatrice and a lawyer and also presidential staffer. And Tabitha Apiayini Ayila is also still with me, an NPP communications team member. Ayila, let's hear you. Let's break your voice on what we've been discussing so far. The cases have been dropped, and then the comeback of former Attorney General who thinks that it is more political than just winning, a good case for the country.
Yes, Annie, thank you very much. I think I need to, first of all, greet listeners everywhere, especially the MPP family. I think we put on a very good fight, but then unfortunately, I'm saying this because this happens to be the first time. Mm-hmm. I mean, this year that I'm coming here.
Were you a part of the women's communication team sort of meeting held recently? I saw it on Fatih's wall.
Sure, I was there.
You were there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, just to meet fellow communicators and to socialize with them.
Right.
I think the fight that we put on, that we went into, which was in the 2024 elections, everybody did their very best, but Ghanaians were the best judge, and they decided to make the NDC the government of the day. I want to congratulate them, and also to congratulate my sister on her appointment. You know, there's this saying that when you are sitting down and observing people fighting, you tend to have all the tactics, you tend to have all the alternatives to probably doing better at the fight with the enemy or whatever. But then it becomes a different story if you happen to be the one that is actually in the ring fighting with the enemy. I think now the whole narrative has changed. We as a party is no longer in government. And so we only will have to be doing the checks and balances on the people that are supposed to be taking care of all of us in this country. The fact that they are leading us doesn't mean that when they do something wrong, we cannot call them out, and we cannot ask them to probably make amends or make some changes. As the saying goes, if there was really nothing wrong with the MPP, I don't think we would be in opposition. I want to believe, per the judgment of Ghanaians, they thought that we had to go back and then sit and revise our notes and come back. Unfortunately for the NDC, I think they are not also learning so fast. What they are doing now is unfortunate, per my estimation. I was thinking they will come and do better. I was thinking they will come and prioritize issues that are pressing. Issues such as our SHS students not having enough to eat. Okay, I saw the president of CHAS. I think that was...
So you think they're not learning?
Yeah, I think they are not learning.
So listen to what Bryce Simmons also said. Bryce Simmons has been quite tough on both parties whenever he speaks or releases his data. Vice President of Imani Africa has cautioned the MPP over what he describes as persistent disconnect from the public sentiment, particularly in its reaction to the NDC's newly government or newly introduced anti-corruption initiatives Operation Loot. I think he was talking about oral, and then he said that the NPP is also not learning. They seem to be still disconnected from the people.
We are not
Looks like
disconnected.
your observation is different from his observation.
No, his observation may be true, but I don't believe that. We are a party that has just lost an election. We are still processing what caused our defeat, and I want to believe that there is a committee that has been set to do this for us. And so for now, we are still trying to process, we are still trying to diagnose. And so it will be, I don't know, but I think that expectation that we should be able to recover and come, no, it's not going to be that sudden. And I think people should give us that grace period to be able to understand what caused our defeat so that we can make amends. So that's his opinion though, but I disassociate myself from that opinion.
But you just said that you should give a grace period, so it means that you probably agree to some extent.
Yes, so
but
they
you need grace period to catch up.
To catch up, and I think it's just fair. Now, I was making a point that there are more pressing issues that I think that by now we should be discussing, and that the government should be prioritizing, which includes the students not having enough to eat. I heard their accounts is red. The senior secondary school students don't have anything to eat. And this was announced by the president of CHAS. One reverend minister, I've forgotten his full name, he came and was pleading that they should ensure that these kids are fed. Is that not something that is more important that we should be focusing our energies on? I am so much aware that ever since the NDC came, we've had fuel prices adjusting like 3 times, and so far about 1 cedi 50 pesos increase on fuel. And nobody seems to care about that. Nobody's actually talking about that. And the livelihoods of people is still not getting better, which you said you will be doing. But what did they decide to do immediately they came into power? They decided to immediately start baptizing themselves. I call it the political baptism. Trying to whitewash themselves, trying to make themselves appear, like to give themselves a better appeal. I intentionally wore a white and black because this is the color the NDC came into office with, very dark. But now they are interested in whitewashing themselves to look whitish. Why do you want to waste your precious time in whitewashing yourselves when you can do something different? You claim that if you come, you make the living conditions of Ghanaians better. And I think that is what you should be doing. All the cases that Beatrice postulated and tried to give the defense to why, which of course she took that from Dr. Ayene's, what do you call it, his briefing to the press, to me it's not necessary. Because he could have still done that, they call it what, nolli prosequi, NP, let me call it NP, going forward. He could have still done it without actually explaining anything to us, and that is fair.
Oh.
No, he could have still done it without explaining.
But your own party officials, leaders in parliament, party leaders,
that is why I said he could have still done it. Yes, but he could have also decided not to explain.
Okay.
Because it is not a constitutional provision for him to explain, which is fair. And, you know, I am so disappointed to have heard him say that the president was not aware.
He never said that.
Like, he didn't necessarily have to, the president didn't have to actually ask him to do the things that he did, and that he did it because he thought that the case was null and void and that it wouldn't last. Look, I will
he was
not...
only trying to imply that the president did not influence.
Sure. Whether he influenced it or not, my sister, I think it is dangerous. It is dangerous that you could do something of this sort without actually sorting for the input of the president. Because these are high-level criminal cases, though none has been found guilty, but at least, let due process follow through. I heard Godfrey Dame indicate that in the Fourth Republic, there has never been this kind of precedence where an AG whitewashes a politically exposed person, like in such high-profile cases like the ones that he just issued the NP, as I said, I'll be using. It is actually unheard of. And since he has decided to start that way, I think it is unfortunate. I think it is unfortunate that high-level criminal cases that your government convinced Ghanaians that when you come, you are going to implement what they call the oral whatever to recover all loots, has rather turned into a mass clearing, a mass political baptism of politically exposed people. And some of these cases have to do with cases that you talk about billions of Ghana cedis. Don't you think it is good for the oral committee to also look into these cases? Don't you even think that the office of the special prosecutor...
oral committee's mandate.
I know that is not, but they don't even have a mandate to begin with.
Exactly.
It is just a political gimmick.
How?
You already said they don't have a mandate.
They don't have a mandate to look into cases. They have a mandate to gather the information. Well, however you want to say it.
That is it. They have the mandate to gather conconsa. Because I don't see it. You see, it was just a way of getting Ghanaians to have this I don't know how to describe the kind of And they succeeded in convincing a lot of people that they actually have the balls to come and prosecute people. After this mass baptism, come on, let's check out of this madness before we all get into the madness with them. Please, we beg you, our sanity is very important. If you are trying to set up your own thing and to dance around it, and please do that, but don't try to pull Ghanaians into this mess. As I indicated, we have more pressing issues. And I even think that the address by the AG is actually needless. He shouldn't have even started it in the first place.
So
just issue it, because you are given that power. I heard they have gone on a committee setting spree where they are setting a lot of committees. And I asked myself, are you telling me that whilst you were in opposition, you didn't have alternatives to the problems of Ghanaians? But one interesting thing that I have also observed is that they have actually set aside a committee to look at revising our constitution. And I think that this noli prosequi has to be one of the things that they have to look at it. Because it is a way for politicians to whitewash themselves. It is a way of politicians to rape the constitution. It is a way for politicians to have their way with the conscience and the goodwill of the people. And I think that they should be amending that constitution. It is one of the things that I will propose.
They should amend by removing noli prosequi from the constitution?
Not necessarily removing it entirely, but there should be something to actually, try to curb some level of, like some high-profile cases.
Some level of abuse.
Yes. I think something should be done about it. I'm not an expert at the law, and which you already know. I am only speaking as an ordinary Ghanaian and how I view the whole situation and the way I appreciate it and understand it. This is how I see the whole case, and this is how I am going to approach it. Now you come and sit here this morning and you don't have anything to tell the thousands of Ghanaians that have been dismissed. You said you were coming to make things easy for the people of Ghana. But you have already gone on a mass dismissal of young Ghanaians who mean well for this government and Ghana. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Why are we taking advantage of the people and abusing them like this? Imagine you are a parent who is at home and your child, probably some few months back, came and told you that, Mommy, I've had an appointment to work and to become productive and to contribute to Ghana's progress. Then all of a sudden, you hear that your child has been dismissed. Why? Just because there has been a change of government. What is going on in this country?
Okay, so
what is going on in this country?
So one poster that probably you may choose not to, but one poster that maybe for now we trust his post within the times that we're in is the one that correctly predicted the 2024 elections. He had predicted previous ones. He had predicted for constituencies, members of parliament, and it was close to accurate. At most 3% margin of error is Musa Dankwa. Musa Dankwa has conducted new polls. And you know what the polls are saying? And this is just a few minutes ago, he's given us, snippets of the polls. And that's because of what you're saying. I'm just trying to let you know that what you're saying is not necessarily representing the mindset of the people. So this is special polls conducted in the country shows 74% of voters believe that Ghana is now headed in the right direction, compared to 16% who believe it is headed in the wrong direction. In November 2024, a month before Ghanaians went to the polls, only 29 of the voters said the country was headed in the right direction. Okay, so you have some of the polls on the screen, with 63% saying it was held in the wrong direction. So just compare the percentages and do the math. Today, President John Dramani Mahama approving ratings at 74% compared to 14% disapproval. Also in Greater Accra, JDM enjoys approving rate of 78%, Central Region 64, Western 86, Ashanti 63, Eastern 66, and Northern Region 78. Then we also have standard of living. Majority of Ghanaians, 54%, believe their standard of living has improved. I don't know how they even got to, how their standard of living improved. But you know, sometimes the state of the mind, if you feel suppressed and depressed by some, I don't know, let me put government here, and then maybe there's a change of government, you now have hopes and think that things will get better. So let's see how it goes as we unpack the year. Improved compared a year ago, while 10% say it had gotten worse, 30% say it is unchanged, and 6% did not give any poll. So the polls are there. We'll just give you, you know, the images and the graphics of it as and when he releases them. This is just posted about some 30 minutes ago. So it's recent, just coming in. Polls from Global Info Analytics, Executive Director. So, apparently, why are you not looking at these trends and as a political party, focus on issues that will let you appeal more to the people? Because if these polls are being conducted and a greater percentage is showing positivity to the government in power now, then there's something else you have to do than just believing in what you think is a fact or is the truth.
I don't think that any political party should be entertaining those ideas that they are being loved. No. Anything can actually happen, as Prof was told. Listen, the MPP was also loved some time back. But for some reasons, Ghanaians thought that they would unlove us. And same can be done to the NDC. This goodwill they are enjoying might be short-lived, looking at the way they are going. That mass political baptism that they have subjected themselves is going to be one of the things that will erode and will continue to deplete the goodwill that the people of Ghana has given them. And I think that if they should continue in this trajectory, they are going to fall into the ditch even before 2028 approaches. This is just from where I am coming from. Because from one of the things I gathered, people claimed and they said that we did not listen. True. To some, we didn't listen. But are they not also doing same? Ghanaians are crying that we don't want you to sack our children because they are all Ghanaians. And you have the NDC coming out and saying we are going to prioritize our own and to give them employment first. You cannot tell me that all the people that voted for the NDC are actually all NDC. What are you doing? Are you not eroding the love they have for you? Please. I wouldn't have to plead with them because I will not want them to actually listen to me because they have an agenda. And I think as the days goes by, we are seeing the agenda unfold one by one. And we have seen the mass political baptism, the mass dismissal going on, apart from people that are giving political employment into civil service. We also have people that were civil servants that have been subjected to this kind of behavior. And I think going forward, we should be very careful about some of these things. It is not fair and it shouldn't be encouraged. If we did one thing and Ghanaians said it is bad and so we are retiring you, you should also come and do same. She indicated that they don't have to take any moral lessons from us. That is true. You don't need to take any moral lessons from us. Because your failure to take that moral lesson that you have already acknowledged exists, that you have failed to take, will actually come back and lash you. And we don't have to do the lashing. I said the standard of living of Ghanaians is increasing by the day. That is not your area of interest. I also made mention that
you are saying that the standard of living of Ghanaians
is increasing by the day. Why?
How do you mean it's increasing?
Because fuel has increased. Electricity, people are complaining about Doomso recently. I don't know what is currently going on, because according to the sector minister, he said they had procured enough fuel. So I don't know what is going on. Maybe if Beatrice has an explanation to those things, she could offer them to me, because I am not in government and I may not have all the fine information. Let's prioritize things that affect the ordinary Ghanaian. Okay? And let's go.
The Global Info said 70% of Ghanaians believe standard of living will improve in the next 12 months, compared to 10% who don't believe will improve.
Yes, they said will. Yeah, you see, this data is just something that they have forecasted and they believe.
No,
believes.
No, this is not a forecast. Let's not miseducate the public. This is not a forecast.
But
this
what?
is polls conducted, and the current data indicate that per the sample size, you have 70% of a sample size saying that Ghanaians
they are
believe.
saying, but that's belief. That's what I'm saying. But it doesn't necessarily going to relate to being so. These are beliefs.
How about the ones who say their standard of living has improved? 54%.
54% said their standard of living has improved. You know, I don't know why you are interested in talking about these polls.
Because it's data.
Because you see, there is an issue we are discussing. And so if you try to divert that issue into somebody's global whatever, I think you are going to be unfair to me and to listeners. Please, let's not do that to ourselves. Now let's go back to the issue.
Let me put it.
The issue.
No, let me put it in the right perspective so nobody gets me wrongly. You were doing the analysis. After she finished, I thought you were going to go all...
No, I already told you that.
Hold on. Let me establish it. I thought you were going to go all... what's his name? Yabo Adami. But you didn't. And then you started talking about standards of living. But what you were saying, it was all backed by data. Unfortunately, I had received the report that's just coming in 30 minutes ago. So I thought it would be fair for me to make those references for you to use the data, because this is based on data.
That's why I'm saying that this data...
It is you who raised it, and I was trying to...
No, that's what I'm saying that, but it's like we are over-focusing on that data. Okay. And I'm telling you that these are just projections from a pollster.
Okay.
And so it may not necessarily be something
important
that will be realized at the end of the day. Okay. It could be, it could not also be. You can't tell, because... as I indicated, anything is possible. Look, there were other cases that I thought probably the AG would have set aside and maybe give it some time and give it some time and actually pay attention to the fine details that the former AG brought up. That has to do with Honorable Collins Dawda's case. The Sagleme project. I think the Sagleme project, per my estimation, is one of the cases that he shouldn't have discontinued. He shouldn't have discontinued because we are talking about millions, hundreds of millions of US dollars. Okay? And so if you want to recover all loot and you are not interested in this loot, I will continue to say loot because the case hasn't been tried and there hasn't been any verdict on it. And so that perception that there was a loot is going to be hanging there. And there is nothing anybody can do about it. And I was thinking they will use this opportunity to actually make it clear for people or Ghanaians to appreciate that the NPP was actually on a mass witch hunt rather than they actually looking for corrupt officials. Now, the perception out there is that politicians are not interested in pursuing cases that has to do with loot. They are rather interested in whitewashing themselves, when they have seen it happen unprecedentedly under the watch of the current president. And I think it's going to go into history as one of the first to be done in the Fourth Republic. And I don't think it is good that the president goes on retirement with this hanging around his neck.
What's hanging around his neck? Drop cases?
Yeah, the mass cases. It doesn't really make sense. And even if you said, after he was dismissed, the next, what do you call him,
minister that was put in place of him, which was obviously under the watch of the MPP, also according to what he said, there was some form of monies exchanging hands that shouldn't have happened in the first place. What moral right do you then have to continue such a case? So he has to drop all those cases, which I think is unfair. They should have continued with the cases. They should have given Ghanaians a reason to believe them that they can actually recover all the loots, whether it is coming from MPP or it is coming from the NDC. And I am even entertaining this idea that if Madam Tamaklo hadn't left the shores of Ghana, they would have found a way to whitewash her and to acquit her of all the charges that were leveled against her and actually got her convicted at the end of the day.
Based on what are you saying?
Based on Madam Tamaklo, you know, she was convicted.
Yeah, but if
that's what I'm saying, that if she didn't bolt out and she was around, I want to believe, because of the kind of mass whitewashing that has happened, I want to believe that they would have found a way to also whitewash her in the process.
Okay.
Which is not fair. And I think that no political party should be interested in this kind of mass political baptism. We are not here to serve our own interests. We are here to prioritize the interest of Ghanaians. Children need to be in school. They need to eat. This morning, I'm wondering how, especially children in the greater Accra region, are going to feed, since the Charles president is saying that there has been, their bank account is red. Honestly, this is not supposed to be a laughing matter. Unless, of course, you actually have information to tell me that they have credited their accounts and so they are no longer in red. If not, you don't have a reason to smile or laugh when people's children are actually hungry as we are speaking. It is unfair to them. Okay? We are talking about people who are now in mental stress. In fact, those that have been traumatized. Look, I had a friend who was working at Greco. This guy called me and told me that they have dismissed all of them. They were running into 100. Ghana Water Company too, they are dismissing people. Nurses, midwives, they are dismissing them. Why are you on this mass dismissal? And I think it is one of the issues that we should be paying attention on. Because this nolly prosecutor, whether we like it or not, they have done it. The damage has been done already. We are talking about byproducts, and there's really nothing we are going to get at the end of the day. And I am happy and singularly very glad that Godfrey Dame took it upon himself to come out there and to respond to Dr. Dominic Ayene. Because
to what you said was not necessary.
No, I think he needs to do that for himself.
Because if what Dominic did was not necessary, then Godfrey...
No, you know, he actually launched an attack on his person.
So he had to come and defend that?
No, he had to. He doesn't have to keep quiet. Okay. But, Annie, let's not do this to ourselves.
No,
if I hear
the fact that you're saying that what he did was not necessary.
Yes, because whether we like it or not, the case has been annulled and there's nothing anybody can actually do about it. Okay. And so it is actually a dead case that we shouldn't even be talking about. Okay. And I think Godfrey Dame only came out to redeem himself, because you cannot have a sitting AG launch such an attack on an AG that has just retired. Okay. And I think that no matter what you do, Godfrey Dame will continue to be one of the best AGs that this country has ever had.
Okay. Okay. Prosper is sending a message in. He says he doesn't know your name, but his name is, her name is Tabitha Ayila. Apianyere. Can you mention Apianyere? Apianyere. Tabitha, please don't get me laughing. So Prosper actually says that you got him laughing profusely and in his house. She's interesting. Okay, Prosper. Prosper, I'll read all your messages. Okay. Ambassador Sampiale says, honestly, I have to hold my heart listening to Tabitha classify the action of the AG as madness. He says that if the former AG had facts to prosecute the persons involved, why did he spend almost 8 years? Did being accused by the former AG mean the persons were guilty? 3, does she know that students are being fared better the question. Why does the MPP think administering their own medicine means some Ghanaians are being victimized? Why are we only are a month old and a few days in government, but this young lady says she's disappointed. Well, life may not be when it was, okay, life may not be what it was when she was enjoying under the MPP. Ambassador Sampiali sends that in. Let me get some more. This one says that, good morning, Annie. Oral used to collect data on corruption and corruption-related cases and does not have prosecutorial powers. The report, which was submitted to the presidency, will be reviewed by the AG, and the cases which needs to be prosecuted will commence afterwards. The position MPP seems to be suffering from diarrhea at the mention of oral. David Edu, you sent that in. I think I made that point, the correction. Attorney General Adam Dayeni justification for dropping cases due to his prior involvement as defense counsel is unacceptable. It sets a dangerous precedent and where personal interests override the pursuit of justice. The Attorney General's role is to uphold the law impartially, not to protect his former clients. This abuse of power erodes trust in our institutions and undermines democracy. Citizen Francis sends that in. Annie, thank you. Evans Dinko, I've seen your message, thank you. But this one says that, was Tabitha in Ghana from January 2017 to January 6, 2025? Has she suddenly forgotten how Nanado and his appointees dismissed Ghanaians in January 2017? Nanado personally wrote to dismiss Alfred Obami and replaced him with Owusu Bempa as head of corporate affairs at Ghana Gas. Thousands of teachers, nurses, NSS directors, which etc. were dismissed. Tabitha, please spare us. Musa Danko has sent a message, but I won't read it. Musa Batwa in Aswasi says that, Annie, the MPP lady may be probably coming from Jupiter because when they sacked more than 13,000 Ghanaians in 2017, I didn't hear her crying the way she's doing today. The revocation of last-minute political appointments is absolutely in order. If these vacancies genuinely existed, why wait until losing election before rushing to fill them? This practice is not only unethical, but also undermines the principles of good governance and accountability. The Constitutional Review Commission must take critical action to address the loophole by making provisions that prevent outgoing government from making opportunistic appointments that serve partisan rather than national interest. I have more, but for the sake of time, let me come back to the guests in the studio. I wanted us to touch on Ken Ofori-Atta, but I think I don't have enough time.
You know,
so
Annie, I've been laughing. I've been laughing because I think Tabitha should take her time. She has 4 years to run. I think that the NDC government is not even 2 months in office. And all of a sudden, Tabitha knows that citizens actually have something we call conditions of living, or what are the phrases you use to describe it?
Yeah.
And she's now aware that people in secondary schools have to eat and not eat expired rice. Was she not the one who sat here and said that eating expired rice, there was nothing wrong with it? And that it may have expired, but the nutritional value had only reduced. Is she not the same person?
I remember that.
Tabitha didn't know that people had to buy bread, sugar, and pick trotro and go to work until they went into opposition? Or is she thinking Ghanaians have been imported from Togo to now come to Ghana, and the Ghanaians living in Ghana under them have been exported to Togo? Is she really living in a real world, or she's in a trance?
Are you providing sausages to the students?
You know, I think you should go on TikTok if you don't have TikTok.
Honestly, I saw a video and I thought the video was fake. Or maybe the children were fooling with us.
No. I think you should go on TikTok. Maybe you should spend some time and go on TikTok. That's where the Gen Zs are now. And that's where, you know, I'm happy in the first place, you know, I mean, that's a smart communication. She can't say much about nolli prosequi, so she has to say something else, which is a very smart thing you have to credit her with. But you have to transition very brilliantly, otherwise you'll be found wanting. Listen, when we came into power, realized schools did not have food. President Mahama released in excess of 200 million cedis and said, get schools to feed. In your government, you would deny that there is no food. I'm happy today you are quoting Charles, because in your government, Charles could not even speak up. Headmasters could not. Today, Charles is speaking, and I think that we should salute President Mahama. That this is the new environment.
It is what I am saying informs polls and people's responses.
Yeah.
That is not that now I'm seeing physical money in my pocket.
But that I can even speak up.
But there are some things that are not tangible, but they are possible or they're doable.
Could Charles even have spoken under your government? Which headmaster will have the courage to speak and say that all is not well? Today I'm happy you are referencing that Charles says that. We've heard Charles. But what I would say is that monies were released for these students. You know what the students are doing? They are doing video.
Yeah,
and they are doing a
to be honest,
because
I see them
for
and
the
I think
first time, they are taking tea with milk and bread.
It was not for the first time. For the first time, probably in a long while.
Okay, maybe for the first time in a long while. Okay. And so where have you been all this while? Did it occur to you in 6 weeks after you left power that citizens actually want a better condition of service when you were using money to dig homes, National Cathedral, and your finance minister is now a fugitive? Did it occur to you that people actually need money and the citizens need jobs when you misappropriated over 2.2 billion annually because of the National Service Scheme and ghost names? You know, in that National Service Scheme, I think Dr. Bawumia is even aware. Because he came to say that by reason of the Ghana card, 14,000 ghost names have been eliminated.
Okay, yes.
Only for us to find out over 81,000 ghost names. These are the people speaking after 6 weeks. In fact, for the next 6 months, you should be shutting up and be allowing government to form. Then can't you see the smart communicators are not talking? Where is Dennis Miracle? They are not talking.
Why are you describing them as smart communicators?
Yeah, they are.
So the ones who are talking, they are not smart?
No. They are talking, but they know what they are saying.
Hey.
So allow government to settle. We will welcome criticism. And we in the NDC will not kill journalists. We will not intimidate anybody. We will welcome criticism. But it is only the sudden dawn that they have come to the realization that people need food. Or you didn't know that people had to eat 6 weeks ago until you left power. I mean, please, let's raise the level of the discussion. Now, she says, oh, we shouldn't talk about nolli prosequi. Am I the producer of the show? Am I the one who decided the topics? So if you think that the topic is, or what is trending this week is nolli prosequi, and you want to talk about dismissal, you look for another platform that they are talking about dismissal. But you don't come here and say that, let's not talk about withdrawals and nolli prosequi, let's talk about dismissal. But having raised that, let me say that I happen to have.
But is that what she said?
Yeah, she said we should be talking about bread and butter issues.
No, she said they are more important.
Yeah, so she determined the important things and she spoke about them.
Not regarding the show, but regarding what the Attorney General did. That's what she thought was.
The Attorney General is just one arm of government governing. So if it was so not important, why would your Attorney General, who you have described as best, come and respond? It is the reason we are discussing. But now, let's come to the issues of the dismissed Ghanaians. I would personally not wish that anybody, whether you are NDC or you are NPP, would be dismissed when they find employment. Because I keep saying that nobody is born with the tag NPP or NDC. It is by reason of association and some other factors. And we in the NDC have taken a more liberal view in building our nation than the NPP. The NPP will sack anybody irrespective of, how they were employed, as long as they don't want the person. Every time you hear Nana Jantwa, who had worked with PRC for years, being sacked because MPP came to power. And I mean, she was not even NDC. But this is what happened. During the transition, and I happened to have the privilege of managing the secretariat of the transition team. In all the transition meetings, every time, the co-chairman on the part of the incoming government will raise concerns about the fact that these employments has the potential to burden the public purse. And so it was important that the new government slowed down or things were done in accordance with law. In fact, if there is one thing that we have to salute Mr. Julius Debra for, he kept saying that we have to establish a good precedent so that in subsequent transition, because this was about the second or third transition. This was about the third transition. So that in subsequent transition, we would have established a precedent on how some of these transitions should be done. You know what the government reps kept saying? That they had the mandate to do anything they wish to do until 7 January 2025. And so they will not take any advice. You know, if you have to employ people, you have to get financial clearance. Yeah. From the that is why they have ghost names everywhere, because these guys, they don't follow the rules. So when Giftiowari and the apparatchiks and the MP people are engaged in corruption, you know why? They don't even get the right financial clearance. They just add names of Husseini Issa appearing 255 times so that they can siphon the system and benefit. The NDC said, let's stop that. Those who have been employed legitimately, nobody will be fired. But this thing of we are employing 200 people here in December 10, some of them even weekends, they were inviting people to come for interview. They were backdating. I even had cause to call some of the CEOs. They said they were in power until 7 January. No recourse to rules, no respect for the incoming government, nothing. They did everything shabbily and they left. And you think that it is not even just the dismissal. We have to do in the promises we did. We said we are coming to do HR gap analysis in every public sector so that Ghanaians will have an opportunity to be employed. The NDC is on record. In fact, one of the things that our own people, the issues they have with us is that anytime the NDC is in power, we play by the rules.
At what point was the public sector freed and opened for employment?
No, they didn't. It was arbitrary.
Because when
National Health Insurance was doing their own thing, VRA was doing that. Everybody was doing their own thing in haste. In haste. In fact, prior to that, prior to even this directive, they wrote to the various ministries, departments, and agencies to furnish them with the list of people who have been employed after 7th December. So it tells you that these guys did not have recourse to what the laws are. So I want to tell the many young people who don't have employment that you will be employed under the NDC government in a manner that is in tandem with established principles from 1992 and the government. And it's not because a certain your political party people were there for 8 years, you couldn't get them jobs. You lost an election, and all of a sudden you realize that your political party people needed jobs. For 8 years you were in power. It did not occur to you that Ghanaians need a job. After you have lost an election, then you started employing. Where do we hear this? And you are employing branch executives and things. We are committed to doing the right things. In conclusion, the NDC recognizes that we have to sanitize the system in resetting our country. You see, in the coming days, you will have a lot of things coming up. These guys were so wicked to the public, but sometimes you wonder whether they were people with conscience. The extent to which they wanted to milk the nation. Look at the OSP report. Ken Oforiatta is everywhere. In MIF, National Cathedral. He is everywhere, including when you are buying matsets. What at all do you use the money for? When you can't even wear shoes.
The Masset contract with the Education Ministry.
They are everywhere. So in the coming days, Ghanaians should keep faith with us. We will cleanse the system. we would make sure that the right things are done so that even beyond an NDC government, we'll have a good Ghana and we'll have a nation to build. But these nation records, please keep them where they ought to be.
Okay. Tabitha, you have the last word.
Yeah. I just saw a developing story. I don't know how, maybe if you have details you could share with me, that the Attorney General has withdraws charges against Bishop Salifu Amwakun, his wife and another, rearrested moments after being discharged. I think that's one thing that we should...
What site is that?
I think it's happening on GH1. Anyway, you see, I think I wanted to address some issues, but then for some reasons, I think I forgot. Beatrice made mention that the Attorney General shredded some documents, and according to her, a memo. And according to her, there were traces to those documents because they were sent via emails and stuff. You know, whether, I don't know how, Beatrice, anyway, but you see, a memo, for you to validate a memo, there should be a response on that memo, right? There should be a response that
how memos are validated.
Oh, we have accepted or we have seen. No. You at least there should be something to, because I can sit in my house and write a memo and decide not to deliver it and expect that you have seen the memo and that you have full knowledge of what is inside the memo. So please.
You know memos are signed.
I know they are signed. And so, can you produce the one that was signed? Can you produce it?
I have it.
Bring it, share it with us. I think it will help all of us going forward. Bring it and share it.
Himself did not deny it.
I said he didn't deny what?
He said if there was any memo, he didn't see it.
He didn't see it. Yes. And so, you, according to you, there is one. That's what I'm saying, that kindly do us a favor by bringing it so that Ghanaians, I won't do that. So you see, you don't have it. Meanwhile, you claimed that you have it.
I have it.
You see?
But I will not give it to you. That's what I'm saying.
No, don't give it to me. Share it for your own reputation's sake. You see, Beatrice, no matter what you do, you are still a baby politician. And the honest truth is that the MPP will not take anything coming from you.
You just even came to Accra.
I just came to Accra doesn't mean that I am a baby politician. You don't know my history in politics. And so just see me in Accra. Oh no.
Senior politician.
Oh no. No. I know what I'm saying.
She's a senior politician.
I know. I heard somewhere that she has never even contested for a position and has never actually been. No, I just want you to understand that.
Really?
I have a history when it comes to politics. So don't conclude. Just by seeing me here, please don't interject. You see, B, you have this thing in you that when you always want to have your way, but in life you should learn to know that even though you have that prerogative to have your way, but you also must develop that decency to allow people to also have their time and have it in full.
Yes, land.
Okay? Now, when I was making my point, which I indicated that you don't have any document to that effect, you claimed you have. And I said, produce that document. Now you are trying to tell us that we should go through where, and write. Don't do that. Redeem your image.
Read,
okay? Don't read. Send it to the producer so that they will put it up there for people to see. B, you are a lawyer. Me, I can be forgiven because I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know much. But you are one. And you should know well that if you claim that somebody has seen something, but you don't have the proof, you are actually not doing yourself any good. Because the man in question came out and said that if there is any, then he hasn't seen it yet.
What about the traces?
The traces, that's what I'm saying. I can decide to write a letter in my house. If I don't deliver it to you, and then I expect that you should know the full content of that, then I am rather deceiving myself, not the person I'm claiming to have written the letter to. Now, another thing, you see, B, your show of disrespect on this platform towards me has to be checked.
Hey, my dear.
As much as possible, when I meet people, I try to give them that level of respect because every human being deserves to be respected. And I don't think I have in any way
subjected myself to be ridiculed by you. Now you see, you have somebody who saw everything wrong with the government, that is the MPP government, but when it comes to her government, she has suddenly become so blind. So blind to the extent that she can't see that what they are doing to is wrong.
Example.
Now let me tell you, if you look at the NDC, and as I said, with the way they are going to mud Ghanaians into a ditch. And that ditch, some of us have already seen it. Because no matter what you say, we have been there and we are here. One thing is, look,
been in power.
Make sure that the fuel prices are worked on. I think that is more important.
Okay.
Not your rants and your mass baptism.
Okay.
Make sure that the children are eating, because the last time I checked, the food that you guys went and distributed to the students were food that we had secured or procured. Okay? That you people decided to go and give it to them. Fine. After all, it's for government, and whatever you want to do with it, you can do with it.
All right.
But don't claim that the kids are eating because you procured food for them. We procured those food.
Okay.
Now you go ahead.
Land, they are taking me off, so land.
You go ahead and you try to whitewash your president. Fine, you can do that. But don't pull my former presidential candidate into this mess. You made mention that Dr. Bawumia lied about some things and that it has brought about double names and whatever. Your government presided over a tender where you had MPs and ministers getting double salaries, and you still have that moral right to sit here and to talk to me about NSS. If we did that evil, supposedly, as you claim, and today we are in opposition, should you also be doing the same? Fine, you can decide to do the same, because that is your prerogative. But one thing I need you to understand is that Ghanaians deserve better.
Okay.
Ghanaians deserve better. And the likes of you should be able to give them better.
Okay, I've seen Adolf Matter, I've seen your message on Facebook. He says that, do you have facts to back Godfrey Dame? Tread cautiously. Please, I was not backing Godfrey Dame. I was just saying it rightly how he put it. I was not backing. You guys can use words, but I was not backing him. Well done, Annie. Great show. Watching you from Nigeria. Lawyer Nweke, thank you so much. Good morning to you. I hope you're doing well in Nigeria. I'll come and visit you soon. The discussion in the media always reflects the quality of democracy in a country. Ghana is getting it right, and I pray it goes on as well in Nigeria. My warm regards to the panelists. Thank you, Lawyer Nweke. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate this message. Just a quick one for Mansa Musa. He said that, Annie, what did Tabitha do to deserve this torture? The lady was just going round and round, and I was not understanding, talking in circles. You think that he was obfuscating about nothing and about everything? I'm even stressed just watching and listening to her. Okay, maybe you didn't get her clear, but I did. Anyway, greetings to you and your intelligent women. Thanks for Mansa Musa from UK. Thank you, Mansa Musa. Good morning. Good morning to you, Annie. The way the NDC and the President John Dramani Mahama is running the country, the NPP acts as if they have already spent almost 2.5 years in government, forgetting that it has only been about a month and a few weeks. They should just wait. We will come after them regardless. They're considering how they have messed up the country. Carlos from Odododio, you sent that in. Too many political words today. Political whitewashing, political baptism, political baby, political politician. What is mass baptism? This lady has taken the matter too personally. Ambassador from PLA, you sent that in. Dinko says that Evans Dinko, let Tabitha know that Bolga people are watching, and we know her very well. She was an NDC sympathizer until she mistakenly found herself in NPP. Surprisingly, were you?
It's a lie. I've never been NDC.
Evans Dinko
I
is a
was
lie.
Tescon Wukom in 2010.
Okay.
So I've never been NDC.
Okay.
It's a brand new era for the NBA All-Star Game, a 14